The scent of rain and exhaust hung heavy over the Mumbai streets, a city that moved with a cold indifference to the broken souls walking its pavements. Far away from the noise, in her quiet hideout, Anushka, Maya, stood before her chessboard, her voice a low, steady vibration in the room. The sons are at the station. Rohan is behind bars. The palace is vulnerable, she whispered to the shadows. Waiting for orders. She reached down, her fingers cold as she picked up the white queen. She placed it firmly in the center of the board, her eyes burning with a cold, vengeful fire. The first pillar of the Oberoi kingdom had fallen, and she was already moving for the next. While the high-stakes game of revenge played out in the dark, a different kind of tragedy was arriving on the city's edge. Sija stepped off the bus, looking less like a woman and more like a ghost. Her goldish-white sari was a ruin of silk, torn and stained with dark blood. Beneath the fabric, the horrific stick marks from her village beating were etched into her skin like a map of her trauma. She stumbled through the crowd, her vision blurring into an unconscious haze. The steam from a nearby tea stall caught her eye, and she moved toward it with the last of her strength, gripping the wooden counter to keep the world from spinning away. Vedant, busy with his kettle, looked up. The sight of her, the bruises, the blood, the sheer exhaustion stopped him in his tracks. Please. Sija's voice was a broken, jagged whisper. I have no place to go. Can I change behind your stall? I just need to wash my face. Vedant didn't ask questions. He didn't see a stranger, he saw a person at their breaking point. Yes. Go, he said gently. There is water and a screen behind the bench. No one will bother you here. Vedant stood guard at the front of his stall, his back to her, creating a small sanctuary of privacy in the middle of a loud city. A few minutes later, Sija emerged. She had washed away the dust and blood from her face and changed into a simple faded Indian dress. She looked fragile, her spirit seemingly crushed under the weight of her sadness and exile. Without a word, Vedant placed a steaming cup of tea and 2 biscuits on the counter in front of her. Sija ate with a desperate hollow hunger, the warmth of the tea slowly breathing life back into her cold limbs. As she finished, she reached into her small bag of luggage, her hands trembling as she searched the bottom. Her eyes welled with tears as she looked up at the man who had shown her the first bit of mercy she'd seen in weeks. I don't have any money to pay you, she whispered, her voice cracking. Vedant looked at her and gave her a small reassuring smile, the kind of genuine kindness he usually reserved only for Girija. It's okay, keep your bag closed, he said softly. This one is on the house. Welcome to Mumbai. Sija looked at him, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. 2 strangers stood there in the morning light, completely unaware that they were both woven into the same web of lies and both connected to the same girl, Girija. The city continued to roar around them, but for a moment, the world was quiet.